things in Parris Island. What would go on? What would happen? I think you told me at night that it got really noisy.
Well, the people. I mean, at night when we pulled guard duty, we had to walk up and down the barracks for a while. The recruits, there would be some recruits that would be crying, and those were the volunteers. I mean, they were not the volunteers. They were the ones who were draftees. They there were draftees in our unit, which is kind of unusual, and they were placed in the Marines, I guess against their will, and maybe some of them were doing. This is their way. The judge probably assigned them to the Marines as some kind of a punishment for a crime that they had committed. But so that was kind of interesting. An interesting thing happened. I was a platoon leader, and when somebody in my platoon failed, the drill instructor had me drink some liquid soap.
Wow!
And so
liquid
that was
soap.
Yeah, liquid soap, the kind that you put in the laundromat. And so I really got upset with a guy who had been responsible for this. So the next time he talked, I decked him. I just knocked him down. And of course, that was, now looking back, that was kind of uncivil. But when you're eating liquid soap because of some guy who decided to talk back, well, then you talk back a little stronger, and that's what I did. And he got in line, and we didn't have a problem after that.
Wow! So then nobody messed around with Arthur from Coral Gables after that.
Well, I wouldn't put it like that, but we were one unit. I mean, it was like they tore us down and they built us up, and we all had this tremendous bonding with our drill instructors, believe it or not. And we went through all kinds of things, obstacle courses. We went through live fire obstacle course. We had our shooting, grenade throwing, and so on. And I did well. I was a sharpshooter in both the 45 and the M14, which was replaced later on in Vietnam by the M16. But we were trained in the M14. Bayonet training. What?
Did you like that gun, Arthur? Did you like that?
Yeah,
rifle?
I did. And we could all take the 45 apart blindfolded, all of us. And that's amazing to learn how to do that very quickly within a minute, and also take the M14 apart and put it back together again. And of course, the M14 did not jam like the M16 did for a lot of guys in Vietnam. The jamming of their rifle caused, I think, a lot of problems, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but the time went by very fast, Bill. But the first few hours was disorienting because, looking back, they can improve this because they had us all do a whole battery of tests, and I did language tests, and so I took the Spanish test, and then any more languages? Yeah, I'll try Portuguese. And then I noticed that the Portuguese was just the same as the Spanish. So I kind of aced that one. And then Danish, I did a Danish test. And then I figured, well, Danish and Norwegian is close. I'll take a Norwegian test. So I did that too. So I had about 5, 6 tests that I specialized in languages. And then somehow, I can't explain why, but the results of that, the grades, this vanished. Just disappeared. I can't explain it. Others took mechanics tests.
What happened after you took the test? What did you say happened?
The results they were not available. I mean, I know I did well in them. And the thing you have to remember is the tests the words are all the same except in a different language. So if you remember the story, if you remember the narrative in the original, you have an edge in figuring out what is being said in this new language, like Norwegian, for example. And I was very disappointed that the results of that test they vanished. They couldn't find them.
Wow. Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe there was some sort of a mysterious plan behind that.
I don't know, but I think that would have qualified me, I think, for intelligence work. What happened was the unit in Long Island was a 81 millimeter mortar unit, and that's what we eventually got trained for that in the advanced infantry training.
Right.
And that's where I went back to. I went back to the Detroit U.S. Marine Corps Reserve Unit in Detroit when after leaving Camp Lejeune. Now,
right. And so Arthur,
there's something I try to tell people about, and that's the following: that the discipline and the sharpness and so on is at a great height during boot camp. I mean, you're on edge. You've lost all your body fat. You're just muscle and mass, and you're in very, very good shape. And then all of a sudden, when you come back and you go to Camp Lejeune for advanced infantry training, none of that discipline is there. I mean, there are no GIs, and so it's a whole new environment. And the thing that distressed me no end was the racism I saw. The anti-white racism by black groups. I mean, they would, and this was disturbing to me. I mean, how in a chow line, if everybody's waiting in a chow line to get food, and there's one black guy in front, and then his 5 brothers come along and say, "Hey, you got room?" And then these 5 go in front of all the other guys, and this just caused a problem. This was back in '66 that this happened. But, I think things have gotten better since then.
Were there a lot of fights?
There were fights in Camp Lejeune, but not in Parris Island. I mean, there you had to really, you didn't have time to do much. I mean, you were always on the go, and there's a certain wisdom to that. But you didn't have much time to reflect on anything.
Right. Okay. Arthur, at that time, what percentage?
But you did things. You did things that you didn't think you could possibly do. You actually could do them. There were things you were actually stretching. You were stretching parts of yourself in ways that you didn't think it was possible, and yet you could do it. And the motivation was there. And of course, when you